close the poll.
Sorry, Meera, excuse me.
That's fine.
But yes, in very interesting poll results, it looks like, some people have subscribed and want to learn more, and some people have not yet subscribed but are still keen to learn more.
Okay, so it's a good mix between the two. So we'll tailor our agenda accordingly.
Yep.
So now we're going to start very briefly. I'm going to start by introducing you to Elsevier clinical solutions. Many of you may already know of Elsevier due to our books and journal subscriptions. We are very strong in radiology with our diagnostic imaging series, the Sutton's textbook of radiology and imaging, Granger and Allison's diagnostic radiology. But in recent years, we moved on from being a pure publisher to becoming a global information analytics business with the aim of advancing science, technology, and health. Elsevier's products now provide knowledge that you can use to take action. So from reading this to enabling you to search this, and now to helping you do this. Reading this refers to our traditional information products such as books and journals that have now become digitized. Search refers to our digital platforms, products that help you find the right answers by using smart algorithms and technology. And this is where STATdx falls in. And RADPrimer, which is our learning and competency-based solution, also falls into this segment. Finally, Do This refers to our products that provide advisory services by harnessing technologies such as NLP, machine learning, and AI. They provide personal experiences and tailored recommendations, and these solutions fall into our active clinical decision support products. So what these products allow us to do is that it put us in a position to help you answer a set of critical questions across multiple disciplines, such as those shown here. So today, I'm going to focus on two of these products, RADPrimer and STATdx. So without further delay, I'm going to get into RADPrimer. So as a resident, your aim is to acquire knowledge and skills to become a confident practitioner. Your aim is also to pass the board exams as mandated by the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Pakistan. And RADPrimer can help you both. It is an online, comprehensive, expert-guided curriculum and an easy-to-use tool that helps you what you need to learn for each rotation, as well as pass testing exams. Content is derived from high-quality resources and global thought leaders. Our experts are top experts in their fields and continuously engage in keeping the content updated. And it acts as a personal teaching assistant that helps you sharpen your diagnostic skills and gain practical knowledge. And to do this, we have 2 levels of learning organized by discipline, so you can learn as you progress through your rotations. These lessons are coupled with practical quizzes that allow you to test your knowledge. And finally, you can monitor your progress and performance to find any gaps and fill them. So I'm going to now just pause right here, get out of the presentation, and take you to the solution. So you can access RADPrimer by the login screen, radprimer.com. By now, everyone who's subscribed should have a username and password. And as you type in, this is the screen that you should be taken in. So just to give you the lay of the land, at the top, you have 4 tabs. The curriculum tab has all the topics and lessons organized by rotations, and it covers all the 11 disciplines. The assignment tab is not relevant for the RSP subscribers. It is something that if your subscription is tied to a faculty module, this is where the faculty will assign tests and assignments to you, so that you can skip over. The activity tab helps you track your activity in terms of quizzes taken and those that are pending. And finally, the performance helps you monitor your performance by topic and also allows you to compare yourself with others globally across RADPrimer users across the globe. On the right, there are 3 icons. The first one is a message icon, and this is where if there's any messages from customer support or if there's any reminders for activities that you haven't completed, that's where you'll find them. The question allows you to get any help from a technical standpoint from the RADPrimer customer support team. And finally, the settings icon is where you can go and customize your profile and set your program length as well as your current residency year. On the left side is bookmarks. This is a place where you can bookmark any reading material that is of interest or you find challenging or you want to come back to later. And I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to begin with the curriculum. RADPrimer gives you 2 levels of curricula, basic and intermediate. And basic is intended for trainees' first exposure to these areas. And what we suggest for the RSP users is that first year residents start with the basic curriculum. You want to take the lessons as well as all the quizzes associated with those lessons before each rotation begins. And then at the end of each rotation, retake all the quiz questions so that you can measure what you have learned. You want to focus and master the basic curriculum over the first 2 years as you prepare for your intermediate exams. And then as you master the basics, then you move on to the intermediate level of difficulty. And this allows you to complete your training and helps you prepare for your FCPS2 exams at the end of your residency years. So I'm going to go into a reading a lesson. So as you can see that the way it's organized is that the lessons come on the left. There is a middle pane that has all the questions associated with those lessons. And then on the right, there is an activity overview quiz, that pane that allows you to monitor the lessons you've completed, or you're in the middle of completing, the number of questions that you've taken, and anything that you're in the middle of doing. So for example, in this one, if I go into the non-traumatic diseases, you can see that this is divided into 3 lessons. So you can see that 0 out of the 3 lessons have actually been completed. But I have already started, I've already clicked on 2 of these, orthopedic implants and arthritis-based concepts, and which is why it's showing that 2 of the 3 lessons are in progress for me. And I have also attempted 14 out of 48 questions in this field. I'm going to go into a lesson. So all our lessons are standardized, and this is the one of the most powerful features of RADPrimer, so that as a resident, you don't have to worry about finding things in different places. Everything has been aggregated and got together in the same place. All the lessons start out with learning objectives, and the reading topics below are standardized in very simple bulleted format, just focusing on the key things that you need to know. So getting into a lesson, on the top, you'll always have the author who's contributed to it. The reading materials on the left, and it is also supplemented by the images on the right. So as you read through this, you can easily refer to the images. And as you can see on the top, there's a pane that you can very quickly move and review. On the bottom, just going back to the reading topic, on the top left, there is a blue bar, and that is kind of like a table of contents for that reading lesson. So it starts out by key facts, and I can just keep scrolling down and reviewing the different topics. Always at the end are references. So as the author has produced these simplistic bullet points, if you want to get more information, it's very easy for you to actually go to the source material. So if I just click on this, this will take me to the link. Just coming back to the images, if you look at the image on the top left, there is a text box. So you want to click that to get the annotation for the image. So all the captions are over here. And once you've finished reading and you want to actually look at the image in greater detail, there's a magnifying glass. You can click that and it will give you a much more high-level view of the image. I'm going to click on the side here, and then I'm returned back to the screen. Once I'm done with this topic, I can click on completed. You can see that it's marked red. And as I go up, with the next breadcrumb. You can see that, actually, let me just go to the topic. You can see that I've completed this topic. And it comes out as marked cancel. I'm just going to go to the next lesson, reading topic, and show you the bookmark. So say I'm reviewing this and I get called away, or actually I find it interesting or particularly challenging. If I click on the bookmark and I go back up, you can see that access is right here. So again, the idea is to make it very, very easy for you to access the information. Now I'm going to focus on the practice quizzes. So as I finish through my lesson, I have a set of quizzes that are associated with that reading lesson. So for example, for arthritis basic concept, I know that there's 19 reading topics, and for those I have about 26 questions. But if I move up one level, you can see that the practice quiz questions go up because it just takes all the superset. I'm going to build a quiz right now. I'm going to build a quiz for the non-traumatic disease lessons. And for the sake of this, for the sake of time, I'm only going to limit it to 3 questions. I have the option of taking my quiz in either tutored mode or testing mode. Tutored mode is great to begin with because each time you answer a question, it tells you whether it's correct or wrong, and then it also gives you a reading, a teaching point. Testing is a good way to do when you master the topic and you're just testing yourself. I can also limit my questions to case-based or traditional. So here we're going to make it a little interactive, just as we did last time. So each question comes always with the author that has contributed to this question, a question along with the answer stems, as well as images. So I'm going to read this, and then Kris will launch the poll. And Kris, you have to launch the 5-question poll this time. We'd like to know what you think of it. So the question is, 60-year-old male patient presented for MR for low back pain. What is the most likely diagnosis? And before I read these, I just want to focus on the images. So I hope that helps. And Kris, the options are chronic ankylosing spondylitis, active inflammatory bowel disease arthritis, leukemia, surgical fusion with pseudoarthrosis, or diffuse idiopathic skeletal hyperostosis. So Kris, go ahead and launch. Yeah, thank you. Just give it.
Okay, I can see a lot of people answering the questions. No.
Yeah, we can go ahead and close it. We just need a few.
Wow. So the most common answer was A.
All
Half
right.
of everyone.
Okay, I'm going to start with that, and that is correct. So once I get the right answer, it tells me immediately, even if I had gotten it wrong, it would tell me how easy the answer is. So here it says that 47 of my peers got this right. So I would say it's medium difficulty. And then it gives me the reason why it's correct, and then a teaching point. And sometimes it will actually give me access to the text material. So I just click that and I get taken to the text right away. So I'm going to move on to the next. I also want to point here that I'm able to flag a question. So for example, if I had gotten it wrong and if I wanted to maybe take it again, I could flag it and it would allow me to come back to it later. Okay, so the next question. What is the best diagnosis for the arthropathy involving the great toe? So I'm going to focus on the images. And my options are rheumatoid arthritis, chronic reactive arthritis, sarcoidosis, or tophaceous gout. So Kris.
ready when you are.
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, nearly everyone, so 96% said D.
Okay, so I'm not going to press D because I want to get it wrong. So I'm going to press this. And so this is an easy one, and there is no teaching point. So now again, when I get it wrong, it allows me to keep answering till I get it right. And of course, the second one, I chose the right one. And I wanted to also show you the teaching point that it gives you. So now you can see the annotations have come alive. So it forces you, it allows you to see why, if you got it wrong, why that was. Okay, so the last one. This is asking, when documenting the type of prosthetic used for this hip replacement, which set of terms most accurately describes the procedure? So total arthroplasty, non-cemented, femoral, cemented, acetabular, bipolar, oh my God, this is challenging my medical terms. Hemi-arthroplasty, non-cemented, femoral, non-cemented, acetabular. Unipolar, hemi-arthroplasty, cemented femoral, cemented acetabular, total arthroplasty. So, and it's the same words. So, Kris, go ahead and launch the poll. I hope everyone's been able to see. There's only one image associated with it. Okay. So what's the winner?
The winner, this is a close one. 37% have said it's D.
Okay, should I go with D?
I reckon.
And it is, that's correct. So the collective wisdom is always good. So the teaching point, and here you actually have some related reading. So if I just click on this, the reading material appears right here. So I don't have to bother going back and forth. And that's very powerful. Now I finished the quiz and it tells me my score. It allows me to flag the missed questions so that I can come back to them later. Or if I want, I can go back to my reading material. So that finishes my curriculum demo. I'm going to move on to the activity. And the activity pane that allows me to keep track of my quizzes. So here, these are the quizzes that I have yet to complete. I've started them, but not completed them. And then in completed, this is the quiz that we had just taken. Now, the option I have is to either review all the entire quiz with my answers, or I can retake the questions that I got wrong. Another really nice feature in the activity is this comprehensive practice engine. And a lot of the time, what we see is at the end of your rotations when you're preparing for exams, a lot of people will just go ahead and take all these questions one after the other, and that just helps them reinforce their learning. It also allows you, so for example, if you're a first-year student and you've taken some rotations and you want to just coalesce your knowledge of that, you can filter by this. So I can undo all the intermediate questions, and in the basic, I can say that I've already done maybe 4 rotations and I click them, and then if my question stems get aligned accordingly, and I can go ahead and test myself on just that. There is also a feature here for more options that allows me, if I flag some questions, just take those flagged ones because I find them challenging and I want to reinforce that. Again, question types and styles. And I can also filter by modality. And there is also a timer, which is in case I need to time myself. Finally, the performance tab allows me to monitor my progress. So again, for basic and intermediate, I can look at this, and from a very high level view, I know how many lessons I've completed, how much reading time I've spent, how many assessment questions I've taken, and my score in those. And then finally, there is a global percentile. So of the questions that you've taken, it'll compare your performance with the performance of all the RADPrimer users globally. And for this reason, it's important for you to put your right year of rotation in the settings section. So this completes my RADPrimer demo. If there's any questions, have the questions. I know there have been some questions. Kris, have they been answered? I guess a lot of people are putting questions in the chat box rather than the questions. I think. So I encourage you to put the questions in the Q&A tab, because that allows everyone to view them, and we can answer them and systematically keep going through them.
Yeah. And all of the questions so far have pretty much been answered. They've been really pertaining to how to subscribe to the product.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. So again, if you already subscribed to it and if you have any questions, you have access to the customer service email. And then I think Chintan and I have also shared our emails. So please feel free to email us and we'll be happy to answer them as quickly as we can. So I'm going to close out my RADPrimer demo by saying that it's above.
Meera, there is one question from Dr. Umair Ajmal, that is RADPrimer useful for consultants?
So we do see that a lot of some consultants do use it because they want to keep improving and solidifying their foundations. So some people do use RADPrimer and STATdx side by side. So STATdx is a diagnostic decision support for practicing radiologists. It's got a lot of the subtleties that RADPrimer doesn't, because RADPrimer is really about solidifying your basics. So yes, we do see a lot of the practicing people who have access to it, that they do use it for just improving their basics. Kris, did you want to add anything more beyond that?
Only thing I'd like to add was that in the US, I'd say around 50% of our users are actually consultants. So there's a huge number of consultants that use RADPrimer just to stay up to date. We also I just wanted to add that we have one question coming in, Meera, and it says, can I filter my questions on the basis of modalities? I wonder if we can go back to the practice quiz engine. Thanks.
So the comprehensive quiz, right? That's where.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Excuse me.
Yeah. So here and under the comprehensive practice engine, there is an option called, well, there's a filtering options. Under the question options of the disciplines or the rotations, there's a more options tab. Once you hit there is a filter by modality. So I hope that's what you were asking about.
Perfect.
So I just want to close this out by saying that in a nutshell, RADPrimer is very easy to use. The content is aggregated from multiple sources, making learning efficient and saving you time as you go through your rotations. And it allows you to monitor your performance in a very objective, standardized manner and fill any gaps in your learning. So I'm going to go back to the presentation and I'm going to move on to STATdx. So what is STATdx? STATdx is our industry-leading online diagnostic decision support solution that increases the accuracy and confidence in diagnosing complex imaging cases. It assists radiologists who have an increasing number of cases, often outside their specialty, by providing comprehensive decision support that they can rely on to make an accurate diagnosis. It has been proven to increase speed, accuracy, and confidence in diagnosing the most complex imaging cases. And in order to do that, STATdx has more than 4,300 diagnoses and around 1,300 differential diagnoses written by the world's leading experts. It has over 200,000 annotated images supplementing these diagnoses and nearly 20,000 cases. We also have a compare feature that makes it very easy to compare differential diagnoses side by side. And on top of this, STATdx also contains comprehensive normal imaging anatomy and tables and calculators to help you with report writing. So how do you use STATdx? Imagine that you are presented with a case that contains a mass in the liver. So some sample images may include, image 1 is a non-enhanced T1 weighted MR section showing a hyperintense mass that is shown by the straight arrow that has a subtle focus or even lower intensity that is shown by the curved arrow. And another image of the same patient, the mass is very intense on the T2 weighted MR with the shown in the straight arrow with an internal focus of even higher intensity shown by the curved arrow. So what is this? So we want to use STATdx to investigate this case and come to a conclusion on the diagnosis. And even if you do know what it is, STATdx can be used to confirm or challenge your assumptions and think about what other diagnoses you might want to be considering. So with that, I'm going to move to STATdx. Again, you want to log into STATdx by the login screen on www.statdx.com. You should already have your username and passwords. And then, as you log into STATdx, this is the screen that you will see. Quickly on the very top, there is on the center of the whole page is our very powerful search box, which allows you to type in any keywords, and you can search by text or images. On the right of that, there's a bookmark, which is very similar to RADPrimer. I'll demo that as I go through the topics. There is a compare feature that I'm also going to demo. And then we have the help icon, a CME icon, and the settings icon. Now, RSV allows you to claim CME credits from STATdx, which is very exciting. So I am going to demo the CME functionality at the end. And then finally, in the settings, this is where you would use to set your profile or reset your password. You can also, outside of using the search, you can browse any topic by categories. So you can see that there are about 17 categories and over around 6,900 topics. If I click on this little arrow, it just squeezes it so that it's easier to see everything on the screen. On the right, there are two tabs. A recently viewed tab that allows me to very quickly go to anything that I've been reviewing recently. And there is a recently updated tab. So STATdx is continually updated. So whenever things get updated, you can quickly go and review the content. So just going back to my case, I am going to type in, because it was a liver mass and I really don't know what it would have been. So I'm going to go ahead and type in liver mass. And as you can see, the search is progressive. So as I type in a word, it actually tries to predict what I'm looking for. And it could be that, I see something that's exactly what I'm looking for, so I can quickly go to that. But in my example, I'm going to type in liver mass and I'm going to hit the search box. So these are the results that get thrown out to me. I can further filter by category if I want, or I can filter by these four things. So I can filter by the diagnoses, expert differential diagnosis, anatomy, or procedures. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and filter by differential diagnosis. And then I get some options. I can very quickly review them. The first line is always there. In addition to that, I have the author's names. If I'm interested in something, instead of opening the entire document, I can click this I button and it will give me a preview on the right side. So as I scroll down, let's say this is the one that looks like something I want to review. So I preview the images, I preview the write-up, and this looks like it's got a lot of the diseases that I'm looking at. And so I click on this, and this is the differential diagnosis that I've gotten. So my expert differential diagnosis list is always organized by the common, less common, and in this case, I don't have rare, but there's usually rare diagnoses as well. On the right side, I always have a little bit of a write-up about helpful clues that I would need to know to further narrow down my search. So here again, if I'm looking at certain things, I can look at the preview window and see the images using the image tab or the documents. And then I can keep picking things that I think could be potential candidates. So maybe it's a focal confluent fibrosis. I think maybe it might be a hepatocellular carcinoma. I quickly, oops, it took me straight there. I don't want to do that right now. Okay, I'm going to choose this. I think that it might be an hemangioma. Again, I can preview it quickly and I add it to my compare list. So I've done reviewing all the lists, the diagnosis, and I think that I want to narrow down my search to 3. So that's where I use the compare feature. I've picked the 3 that I think are the right candidates, and I hit the compare. And now this is a really powerful feature of STATdx. It gives all the 3 diagnoses side by side. So the images are there. I can very quickly click and view the images. The image banks are at the bottom. So maybe, for example, this image is not really a right one to compare. I can go down and find one that is. And then I can just, see it side by side. If I want, I can even go to the text. And again, because the text is so standardized, everything is, I don't have to get lost in the noise. I'm looking at the exact things that I need to know to narrow down my research. So as I scroll down, say I think that this one is probably an hemangioma. So I can dismiss diagnoses, maybe narrow it down to 2. And then I think that this is a hemangioma. So I'm going to click on this. And this is going to take me to the diagnoses right up. So Kris, I'm going to stop here. Are there any questions or should I go along?
So you can proceed, Meera.
Okay. So now for the diagnosis, again, the layout is always the same. The write-up is on the left. The images are on the right. Just looking at the images, again, I can very easily scroll using the arrows, but I can also go at the bottom, and I know that this diagnosis has about 34 possible, a bank of 34 images that I can look at by just going down here. So if I want to have a bigger view of the image, I press the magnifying glass and I can see a higher level view of the image. Now, another really powerful feature here, again, there's an ability for me to even go higher by pressing full screen. But what I want to show you here is the download to presentation. So in radiology, you're often either going to conferences to, now I've already pressed it. So the minute I press it, it opens it up in PowerPoint. So this is important for maybe your report writing, if you want to go to a tumor board, or if you want to present at a conference. Okay. Going back to the write-up, the diagnosis write-up has all starts out with key facts. And I can go down all the topics by clicking on this little arrow that gives me the table of contents. So I go to terminology, and then there's a previous and next things that I can click. And I also want you to focus on this little arrow here. If I click this, it'll take me right to the top. Again, the references where the authors have taken this information are here. So if I want to actually access the source, I can click this and it'll take me right to that. After that, there are tables. So in this example, there's no associated table, but a lot of the times there might be any TNF staging tables or other information. And if there's anything associated with this diagnosis, you can click on this tab. After that, we have cases. So a lot of doctors have contributed to cases just to give a little bit different flavor of this diagnosis. So I can click here and access these right away.
Meera, just Kris here. I just thought I'd use a quick opportunity here to answer 2 questions that were raised. First question is, can STATdx evaluate image and find a comparable lesion in a data set? Now, please rephrase the question if you don't think I'm answering it correctly, but let me try. At the moment, we are exploring whether or not you can upload an image into STATdx and for us to scan that image and see if we have something similar, but this is nothing that will be available in the immediate term. But if that's what you're referring to, this usage of AI to recognize certain images and produce a search automatically, Yeah, so the short answer is not at the moment, but in the long term, this is something that we are investigating. The second question, can annotations be removed for examining? If this is with regards to downloading a PowerPoint slide, and you can remove the caption, but for when we talk about exams, we would usually be using STATdx for, we wouldn't be using STATdx for doing exams. We usually use RADPrimer to practice for exams. And within the RADPrimer quiz that Meera presented earlier, there will be no annotations or explanations. The quizzes mimic an actual exam. I hope
Great.
that answers the.
Yeah. Thanks, Kris. That's useful.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just going to continue for the patient cases. I'm going to just select a patient case at random. And each case comes with the name of the author on the top, along with the description and the images. Now, just to go back to my diagnoses, because I've gotten into the patient case, I'm going to go to the diagnosis using the link in the recently viewed. So again, I just wanted to show you the power of that recently used or recently viewed tab. So in report writing, many times, either you want to review your anatomy or you want to refer to it. So there is an anatomy tab that you can go to review that. So I'm just going to go to the liver. It's taking a while to download. But you can see here that there's a lot of interesting normal imaging anatomy that you can review or add to your report. Again, all of these can be downloaded as well. Now, again, it's hard for me to go back to the previous page, so I go to the recently viewed, and I'm back to the diagnosis. Finally, there is a differential diagnosis list in case I want to look at other options that I may have missed. On the very top, there's a breadcrumb view, so that allows me to keep going up to the category that this is under.
Meera, excuse me, sorry to interrupt you again. We have another question here, which is, do we have a similar experience of the STATdx interface using an iPad or a Windows-based laptop? If you don't mind, I can quickly try and answer this one. So the short answer is STATdx is a web-based application, meaning it works on any mobile version of Safari or Chrome. So we've taken special care to make sure that the interface will always give you enough reading room. So if you're using it on an iPad or on a Windows laptop, as long as you have Internet Explorer or Google Chrome, STATdx will work fine. It technically would also work on a mobile phone, but my experience using STATdx on the mobile phone is that the real estate is a little bit small, but I think on an iPad and above, it works perfectly.
Great, thanks, Kris.
Pleasure.
So I also wanted to show you the bookmark section. So if I wanted to bookmark this particular diagnosis, I just simply click on bookmark. It gets lit up. And then if I go back to the home page and I click on bookmarks, that link is right here. Finally, I do want to take this opportunity to show you the CME, how you can claim credits. They are approved by RSP. So everything that you have been searching and reviewing gets logged here. And if you want to choose a certain topic to claim CME credit, you just hit claim, not archive, sorry, claim. And then it asks you for some questions of why you were doing this search. Say I wanted to review a diagnosis. This reinforced my plan, and it was GI related. And then I submit for credit. And it goes into the database, but I'm also able to print a certificate for my records. So we do encourage all the subscribers to keep a record of that, since you are able to use this for your CME credits. So I know I have about 10 minutes. Maybe I can take this opportunity to show some RAD tools. So these are some tables and calculators that can assist you in writing reports. So for example, in calculator, I can go maybe to a tumor doubling time. And this allows me to enter, I don't know, say that my initial film was there. This is today. The days between the studies automatically gets calculated. If I'm looking at the time versus the volume, here I'm looking at time. The initial diameter in the beginning was, and I'm just throwing in some numbers, and it became 12. It calculates the doubling time. So these are really useful for you as you're going through your report writing. I'm going to go into some tables and to show you the various tables that we have. And oftentimes these are, TNM staging table that help you. Get into this one. So that again helps you with your reports. So another feature that I wanted to talk about is a RAD search. So going back to my hemangioma, say I've done all the information, I've already read all the information on STATdx. Actually, this is before I get to the diagnosis. I'm just going to go into the mouse. So these are my results, and I want to know a little bit more than what's available in STATdx. So at the bottom, there's a tool called RAD search. So I can click on any of these and it'll take my search item and automatically launch another window. So say I want to look for liver mass in key radiology journals. So I press that and automatically the Google search is filled for me and the results come. So again, it makes it very, very easy for you to continue your search outside of STATdx. So I think that is it that I had in my list. I can go back.
Yeah, Meera, there is a question from Dr. Najam, wherein he's asked, are there any standard reporting templates in the system? For example, PIRADS, MIRADS, etc.
Kris,
Meera,
did you want to?
yeah, for sure. Great question. So we don't have any standard reporting templates, but for, let's say, your prostate RADs, for example, Meera, would you mind typing into STATdx search for me, prostate, followed by TNM? So although we don't have, a standard reporting and data system, but if you look at the prostate TNM, tape, yeah, correct. We do have a tumor staging table, which may be of benefit, and maybe I can show it to you now. At the top one, prostate carcinoma, TNM, excuse me. Perfect, and we click on the table. And this should give you your standard tumor staging. Perfect. Thank you very much, Meera.
Yeah, I hope that answers Dr. Najam's question.
Yeah, and Dr. Najam, please yeah, clarify if needed in chat or in questions. We also have another question here, which is, can STATdx evaluate images and find a comparable lesion in a data set? Somehow I lost internet between, so can you repeat the answer?
So
Okay, so got it. So this is the I can repeat the this one. So if this, Dr. Shumala, if you're referring to the ability to upload an image and have STATdx use image recognition, using AI to recognize these images and find a relevant image within the STATdx database, it is something we're exploring, but it will not be available in the short term. We understand this is the future, and yeah, we have a team working on this, but once again, it will take some time. So not in the next few years, I would say. Or not in the next year.
Kris, I don't think I have anything else unless there's more questions.
Yeah, one more. We have one question here, which says, can we get the subscription of different radiological journals at a subsidized rate through STATdx? I'm happy to take this one if you don't mind. So we've, it's an interesting question because let's say a subscription to a journal, can range to $200–300 a year, so to speak. And the authors of STATdx, Anne Osborne and the likes, we have over 300 authors. All these authors produce various journals. So in essence, so STATdx doesn't allow, there's no deal which says if you have STATdx, you can get cheaper journals, but by subscribing to STATdx, you actually are getting access to the most up-to-date data already. Our authors release many journal articles on a regular basis, and the content that they would be putting into these journals will go straight into STATdx anyway. And that's why I think it's a very, very valuable tool in the sense that it's a low-cost annual subscription which is continually providing you with the most up-to-date evidence-based practice. Yeah, that's pleasure. Sam says, can we see the recording of this later on? It is being recorded, and yeah, I will speak with Meera and Chintan to see how we can share this. Is it possible to communicate with the author contributing to the cases? For this question, not directly, but if you had suggestions, you could email, or if you had any, actually, in a way you can. I've recently had a few customers from China actually make suggestions to cases and ask me to relay them to the author. And we relayed them to the author, and the author can provide feedback, which we will relay back to you. So that way, yeah, you can.
Yeah, so we also like to think of it as a community. So if you're STATdx subscriber, then you should have access. So you can happy to pass on any information to the content team, and they're in touch with them.
Yeah, exactly. Dr. Chum, we have a doctor saying, thank you very much. There are very many new things which I learned, and I thought it was a very comprehensive webinar.
Thank you.
Is it possible to get a subscription now? I have to prepare for my exam, and STATdx looks pretty good. Meera or Chintan, can I?
Yeah, I think if you're interested, please get in touch with the RSP Society. And I know there is, in a couple of months, we do have another batch that we are able to onboard. But yeah, I think there are certain timelines that we have to adhere to get the next batch. Okay. But please be in touch with the RSP Society.
is there any option to search topics in RADPrimer?
No, I don't think so.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you might be able to see that in the text. I did answer it earlier, but so the short answer, yeah, you can't search for topics in RADPrimer. Within RADPrimer, you navigate through the categories. So the 13 categories that Meera showed, musculoskeletal, neuro. So you just click on the category, then the lesson, then the topic. So that's how you would navigate. STATdx, on the other hand, has an intuitive search function.
So the STATdx is, everything in STATdx is catered around the search. So the search is very powerful. It's like, we call it a Google-like search. It's a progressive search. So it tries to, become intelligent. So that is where all the technology, search technology has been focused on. But RADPrimer, because the use case is different. So that's more of just a learning curriculum.
Yeah, Meera, may I ask if you like, I'm happy to share a short 1-minute video that I've got on here.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah,
Understood.
I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay. Share screen 2. There we go. Just bear with me, excuse me. I'm going to click on play.
The voice is very faint.
I'm sorry, Meera.
That's okay. Maybe we can send the link. So, the Elsevier website has a lot of masterclasses and a lot of information on STATdx. So if, the doctors have a little bit of time, we can just send the link. They can view it in their own time.
Understood. And I'll also push the link into the chat right now.
Great.
Yeah, it's a...
Great.
Okay, to end, if you like, I can just do a final poll question. And
yes, that'll be great. Thank you.
Understand. No worries.
Yeah, in the interim, while the attendees are answering the questions, we have received quite a few queries with regards to how to go about subscribing to both the solutions, or there have been some attendees who have put forth their queries that we have already subscribed for one, and we want to subscribe for another one. In that case, I would request all the attendees to contact the Honorable Radiological Society of Pakistan, because we have one more window open for a 9-month access from the month of September. So, the attendees can take it ahead with the Honorable Society. Thank you.
So while everyone's polling, wanted to thank everyone for their time. Thanks to the Society for giving us this opportunity, and we hope you found this useful. And Chintan, me and Kris are available. If there's any questions, please reach out to us through the Society, and we'll be happy to work with you.
Okie dokie. Yeah, but just for what it's worth, the poll results are looking very, very promising. Again, 90% hear all the attendees say that they think RADPrimer and STATdx will be helpful.
Great, it's good to hear. Thank you again for your time. I think we will end the webinar. Give you 1 extra minute of your life. Please take care, stay safe, and we'll be in touch again.